And now, for that moment that I have been waiting for. I know you haven't, but I have. I thought now that we're getting to be best friends in stocks, options, and dividends, maybe I can share with you my hobby, my little side hobby, baseball cards. It's just such a wonderful little hobby. And in fact, I was in the hobby as a kid for many years, and then I got out of it, like most people do. And I didn't return to the hobby until December 1st, 2021, when I was looking for the old Christmas movie DVDs to get ready for our Christmas Eve pajama party with the Fab Five. And I stumbled upon a shoebox, and it's all dusty here. I stumbled upon a shoebox that was in black Sharpie marker, said baseball cards, because I had actually sold off my entire collection, or at least I assumed, and I thought I had sold off my entire baseball card collection after my father died in April of 2016, when my brother and I and our wives cleaned out his trailer. And I thought, it's kind of an emotional decluttering. I got rid of a bunch of things that I thought I would never need again in life, one of which was an enormous collection of baseball cards. Well, it turns out in a shoebox, I had about, 20, 30 cards, one of which was my favorite card of all time, which I pulled pack fresh behind the Swanson's Dairy in Portage, Indiana, with my friends in a Topps wax pack 1980 cards with the hard stick of gum in it. Got that out, chewed it up, pulled out Rickey Henderson's rookie card, and Rickey became my favorite player of all time. So this is the exact card. I mean, it's actually very well centered for a 1980 Topps card. It does have a ding at the top, so it's nothing special, but it's extremely special to me, and that got me back into hobby on December 1st, 2021, and I've been collecting cards since then. And so a little eye candy here, 1954 Topps Ted Williams, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And this is called a graded card. Okay, so this is a raw card, the Rickey Henderson, how we assume or consider all cards to be, baseball cards. You'd pull this out of a pack. In the hobby, it's called a raw card because it has not been professionally graded. So this is professionally graded. And they look for things such as the centering of the card, any defects on the surface, the corners, how sharp are the corners. As you can see, the corners on these cards on this 1954 Ted Williams, not very sharp. They would be called soft corners, which is, to be expected for a card this age. In fact, I think I do have right next to me here. This is a stack of cards. Whoa, put that aside. And that's why one of the reasons you have them in these cases is to protect the card and to make it more, liquid. It's much easier to sell a vintage graded card than it is to sell a vintage raw card because of the professional grading. There is a rookie Brooks Robinson. So these are cards that I'm going to be sending off for grading very soon. Look at that sweetheart right there. 1956 Ernie Banks, nicely centered, and a little off there, a little thick and heavy on the left side, off left to right on the Hank Aaron. There's another gorgeous Willie Mays. Look at that. But there's that Ted Williams. So let's put these aside. I'll be sending these raw cards off to be graded. So let's compare the two. So right here, the first thing that stands out to me is the orange on the left is more vivid than the orange on the right. The centering is about the same. However, there's a little bit of damage on the left side on the border, as you can see there. But the corners look crispier. I don't have the best lighting here, but the corners look crisp there on that. So I would imagine that this could, and it'll likely be graded a 4, but what if it was a 4.5 or a 5? I mean, it changes the value dramatically. So I wanted to get into these boxes right here because I just got them back from PSA. So it's the Professional Sports Authentication Company. They're the best known and most popular in the hobby as far as having cards graded. But listen to this. I sent these cards off raw on March 1st of 2023, and it is now July 27th. I just got these cards back. How about that? Let's see if we can open that off camera and not struggle with my spaghetti-sized muscles. Got like spaghetti arms and the grip strength of a teenage girl. So let me open this for us. Real quick like, we'll open it up, both of these boxes. I don't know the order. I don't know the order of the cards. I'm hoping that they packed them up in the order that I shipped them, so we will check that. Uh-oh, we got some cardboard in the middle, and so what that means is they didn't grade this card. So it might be, likely it would be, because these are vintage cards, evidence of trimming, you know, back in the day, or even up currently, people, they'll try to make their cards look a little bit better by trimming some of those edges, some of those soft corners to make them appear better, and then suckers like me buy them unknowingly. And so let's see what kind of order. Is there another one in here? Let me get these out. Maybe, maybe not. Let's turn this box over. Come on out of there. There we go. Okay, let me get this stack and see. So here's the back. There's a Ron Santo. So let's see. So that should probably be the second box if that's in order, and this would be the first box. Let me try to get these out. Bear with me. I know that I'm normally on here trying to collect dividends and sell stock options, but I thought, you know what? I needed to share this with somebody because my wife just rolls her eyes when I talk about baseball cards or show them to her. So let's try to put these face down. Okay, so they're not in order, and the reason I know that is because, well, it might be close though, because here's the order that because what I did is I estimated what the grades would be. So I thought that would be interesting for both of us to look at that together, what my estimates of the grades are. And it's on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being gem mint. None of these are going to be 10s. These are vintage cards. It's almost unheard of to get a gem mint 10 in a vintage card, but this was the order that I shipped them in, how I packaged them. So the first card I see on here is a Dave Winfield, and then I see George Brett, and then I see home run leaders, right? No, that's batting leaders. So yeah, it's a little bit out of order. What's next? Glenn Beckard. Yeah, that's very much out of order. What do we have over here? We got Santo, we have Hustler Banks. Hustler Banks would have been last, I believe. Yeah, there's Hustler Banks right there. So we'll just do our best to go through these and see what order they shipped them to us in and how I did on the grades. And then what I want to do is just kind of give myself a scoring system. So if the grade is a 7, that'll be a 0. If it's a 6, it'll be a -1, a 5 -2. If it's an 8, it's a +1. So I don't think I'm going to be, I might be high on some. I don't think I'm going to be low because, of course, I'm very optimistic. So let's see what this Dave Winfield is. So it's going to be the second one on here. Dave Winfield, 1981. Dave Winfield, one of the great players of my young generation. I estimated a 7 on this card, and there it is. We got a 7 on the 1981 Dave Winfield, and it's a near mint 7. So that is very nice. Next up is a 1977 George Brett. That's the first one on here. We got that graded as a 7. Wait, we got to do our scoring. Let's do the scoring. The actual on the Dave Winfield is a 7. So that'd be a 0, which is good. We want a 0 to plus score on this. So George Brett, we have a 7 on, and it's an 8. It's an 8, but it's an OC. How is that OC? So what this indicator is, or this qualifier, OC stands for off center. So yeah, it's a bit off center. I mean, the back is way more off center. Typically the back has much less impact on the card grade. I am very excited about the 8 because I graded it a 7. Look at the condition of that, 1977. And you may see a theme in these cards from the years, and then you'll be able to determine my favorite card year of all time. So that George Brett gets an 8 and a +1. How about that? Next up is batting leaders. Okay, so batting leaders. This would be NL batting leaders. Let's find that on the sheet here. NL batting leaders right there. Okay, so that's a 1969 NL, which stands for National League batting leaders. I graded that a 6, and it's a 5. They gave me a 5, but look who's on the card. Pete Rose, Matty Alou, and Felipe Alou. How about that? Look at Pete. Should be, of course, in the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose. So that is a 5, and we had it as a 6. Okay, so that is a -1. Next up is Glenn Beckert. I got this graded just because he's a Cub. I am trying to put together a collection of all Cubs. It's the collection, I've named it Every Cub. So base card for every Cub between 1952 tops through 2023 and then going forward. So I've got Glenn Beckert as a 6. Let's see what Glenn comes up with, and it is a 6. There's Glenn Beckert in a 1968 tops 6, which means excellent to mint. So excellent to mint condition on a 1968 Glenn Beckert card. Very nice. We got that going for us. Next up is Richie Allen, a.k.a. or better known as Dick Allen. And we have it as a very good, which is a 4. So a 1966 Richie Allen in a 4, and that's what it has. Look how beautiful that card is. What a great player. Dick Allen. Richie, a.k.a. Dick Allen, in a very good to excellent 4. Beautiful card. 1966. You see a little damage there on that corner. Otherwise, this would have been, and actually the top left corner as well. Because look at that. The back looks beautiful. Beautiful. So that would have easily been a 5 or a 6 if those corners didn't have that damage. So there's a Richie Allen with the 4. That's very nice. We got that. Carl Yastrzemski. We got a 66 Yaz. 66 Carl Yastrzemski, one of the greatest players of all time. And we have him as a 4 on our sheet here. And it is a 4. And look at that. Look at Yaz. Oh, that's a beautiful card. Got that bottom right corner. You can see a little damage there, a little soft and little curled on the top right corner there. But otherwise, the color of this is amazing. The look on Carl's face is amazing. One of the GOATs of all time. Got that in a 4. Okay, Rod Carew is up next. Rod Carew. I think this is the 70 All-Star. Rod Carew. You see the really cool back. Rod Carew, I loved him. I would emulate many, many batting stances back in the day in wiffle ball and hardball and Little League. You know, all of the at-bats that you would take as a kid. We actually had a wiffle ball league in the neighborhood, and we had different fields. Ours was the main field that we played most of the games in. And just an amazing time when we have the 1970 Rod Carew All-Star card as a 6. And there it is. It's a 6. The Sporting News All-Star Rod Carew. If you are a sports fan, a baseball fan, and you are around my age, then you certainly remember Rod Carew. Multiple batting league or batting average championships in his life. In his career, there is a 6 that is spot on. And then we have a Mike Schmidt. I think that looks like a 1977. Yeah, that's this 1977 Mike Schmidt right there. And what do we have it at? We have it as a 6. We have Mike Schmidt as a 6. Oh, and it's a 5. We got a 5. Yeah, I could see it. Yeah. Maybe I didn't look at it careful enough. It got a little action there. You can see where some of the ink has come off. That corner's soft. This corner's got a little action on it. That's okay. The back of it is just beautiful. It's beautiful, but it is a 5. Mike Schmidt, 1977. So we got a 5. That's a -1. Next up, I see a 1970 Reggie Jackson, it appears to be. 1970 Reggie Jackson. I have as a 4, for Reg, and it is a 4. So there's Reggie Jackson in his A's uniform. So if you don't follow sports and baseball closely, you may have just think of Reggie as a Yankee, but he started his career. Oh, it's way off center, isn't it? See how thick it is, how thick the border is on the left compared to the right. There's Reggie Jackson, another great of all time, Mr. October, very famous. I remember first grade, rolling into classroom, Mrs. Young's class, talking about those 3 home runs that Reggie hit in the 1977 World Series. Fond memories of the Reg. So let's go 4 on Reggie. Next up, we have AL RBI leaders. So I may have 2 of these. I think that says NL. Okay, so it should be the 1970 AL RBI leaders, and it is 1970 AL RBI leaders. We had it as a 4, and we got a 4. Harmon Killebrew, Boog Powell, and there he is again, Reggie Jackson on that card. Some of these names you'll recognize, many of them: Sal Bando, Yaz, Tony Oliva, Frank Robinson. Look at all those names. I've always loved the leader cards ever since I was in the hobby as a kid. So there's a 4. And I continue to be very interested in the leader cards, but especially these older ones where the guys were just, we emulated them as kids, watched the baseball games as often as we could. This Week in Baseball, remember Twib Notes, and that show was amazing. We got a Gary Carter up here. That looks like a 77 Gary Carter. We have that as a 7. So let's see what Gary Carter is. And there it is. Look at that with the Expos uniform, Gary Carter. Very well known as a Met, of course, but Gary Carter in a 7. That's a beautiful card. I'm just staring at it. And I'll tell you the little, and I mentioned this at the beginning, you may notice a theme with these cards, but my favorite year, and the reason it's my favorite year, is just the emotional response that I get when I see the 1977 card. So I'm assuming, based on my emotional response to them, that was the first year where I really started to rip cards. I would have been 6 years old in 1977. So I just have that emotional response with the cards of 77, and there is a Gary Carter 7. That's a very good grade, very good card for a card that is that old. So 77, that's a 0. Next up is Pee Wee Reese. Pee Wee Reese, and that's going to be a 1958 Pee Wee Reese down at the bottom there. And I was looking at a text that was just coming through. Uh-oh, I think it said something about Stacy didn't think the AC was working on the main level. We have 2 different air conditioning units, central air units for the house, one for the basement and main floor, and then another for the upper level where I'm at now. So that is not good news. So we may need to hurry through the cards here so I can check that out. But here is Pee Wee Reese 1958. We have that as a 4, and here is Pee Wee and a 3. Pee Wee, come on, it's 1958. Look at the condition of that. Very well centered, good coloring. Yeah, the corners are soft, but you would expect it in a 4. There must be a wrinkle here somewhere that I didn't catch the first time around. I'll have to look at that on my own when we don't have central air concerns on the main level. But look at that beautiful card, Pee Wee Reese. Now here is a card that came back ungraded. Oh, there's 2. There's 2 cards in here. Oh, okay, I see. All right, so what do we got? So we got Enos Slaughter. I had him as a 4, 1959, and it's going to say, do not holder evidence of trimming. Actually can see, I can see the evidence of trimming. Hello, right at the upper right there. Why did I send this in? It's blatantly trimmed. Blatantly trimmed. Let's get it out of here. Check it out. You see that top right corner, how it's uneven? Come on. Why didn't I catch that? Maybe trimmed on two sides. Anyways, probably because I was in a hurry. The hell, excited. Get those cards over. Oh no, Brooks Robinson. What do we got here? Miscut. I would imagine it's miscut here at the top. Let's check this out. Yeah, it's pretty rough on that side. Pretty rough. We'll put that in. It didn't come back in a penny sleeve, so we'll grab our own out of the handy card drawer here. Put it back into a penny sleeve. And we call it a penny sleeve because essentially it costs about a penny, and it's there to protect the card. Another protection that you would use would be this is called a card saver, okay? And it even says it there, card saver 1. That's a card saver. That's it's flexible but rigid plastic. And then a top loader is more rigid. Okay, we got this tie cob and a top loader. So you would put it in a penny sleeve to protect the card, and then to protect it even further, you would then put it in a top loader as such. And then obviously the most incredible, what do we have on that Brooks Robinson? That can't be it. Let's hope it's not. That's 6. We had a 6 on Brooksy. That is a good looking card. I do see that it, anyway, move along. Move along, Bart. You're fine. So let's mark out Enos Slaughter and the 70 Brooks. Okay, so, and here's another Brooks. It's going to be the 77 Brooks. This was a really nice card. Oh, we have it. I have it as an 8. Is that possible? That'll be our. We have another 8, don't we? Yeah. So here's a Brooks Robinson, and there it is at an 8. Look at that son of a gun. Wow. That looks mint, doesn't it? Well, it's near mint to mint, according to the professionals over at the Sports Authentication. Beautiful. Beautiful Brooks Robinson in an 8. That is a great grade for a card of that age. What do we have next? Harmon Killebrew. Harmon Killebrew. Okay, so this is a 58 Harmon Killebrew. I have it as a 4, but with a mark. I saw it has a mark on it, and I can see the mark now, actually. And there it is. Oh, a 3. A 3, but they did mark with the qualifier as marked. It's uneven in the holder. Come on. It's off center, and it's off center. So we got it as a very good 3 with a mark. The mark's right here on the back. You can see it right there. Right there. But I had it as a 4 myself, so that's another negative score for me. So that's not good, is it? So there's a 3 minus 1. Where's our pluses at? I don't think I've had a... Oh, yeah, George Brett got a +1. Otherwise, we're down 1, 2, 3. So we're at -2 total. Okay, Sluggers Supreme. Sluggers Supreme. Where's that at? Okay, 58 Slugger Supreme. We had as a 4, and this is going to have Ted Williams on it. And there it is as a 4. Very nice. So we got that one spot on. And is that really his shoulder? Like, what is that? Looks like a shoulder pad he's wearing. Ted Glazewski with Ted Williams. Hello. Sluggers Supreme. Very nice card. Beautiful. Beautiful card right there, and it is in the 4. So that is what we predicted. Now I see a Mark Fidrich 77. If you know Mark Fidrich, then you know his nickname. And if you could give me that in the comments down below, Mark Fidrich and his nickname, if you were around those days. He was essentially an overnight sensation, had a couple of really good years pitching. Then the injuries got in his way. He had a short career. And he passed away a few years ago. He was working on a car out on his farm, and the jack collapsed, and the car collapsed onto poor Mark, and he passed away. So here is Mark Fidrich in a 5. I think we had didn't we have a 6? Yeah, we had a 6 on Mark, but look at that, how beautiful. How's that a 5? It might be a little off top to bottom, but left to right's spectacular. The back is off for sure, but again, the back not nearly as important, but look at the condition of that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me a 5 or 6, because this is just a card that'll one day be inherited by my son. But there's another -1, and we don't want that, do we? We don't want any -1s. And Sparkle Barbie has made it into the card room here. And so is Stella. So the AC on the main floor is not working?
It's 77. She's panting.
Did you call Sean?
He said, I'm just wondering if it's something we did with the breakers.
I bet. So let's try that.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I'm gonna finish this up and I'll be right down there.
Okay.
Be right there. All right, Johnny Bench. What do we got on the Johnny Bench? That looks like a set of 76, I believe. 76 Bench. There he is. Okay, now I got high hopes for this. 76 Johnny Bench, a 7. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. I love this card. Love it. In action pose. Got the dust flying. Johnny Bench, one of the greatest catchers of all time, in a near mint 7. So we got that going for us. So I'm looking at these cards as the house is heating up. Not funny. Oh, but I'm excited to get that 7. All right, 77 Carlton Fisk. What do we have on that? 77 Fisk. We have a 7 on the 77 Fisk. Oh, we got an 8. There we go. We needed another one in the plus column. Another iconic card. I just remember this card, staring at it as a kid. I loved it. I actually rubber cemented it to my wall with about, I don't know, 30 other cards. Rubber cemented cards to my wall. My mother didn't. Ooh, look at that little mark at the top. Did they do that to my card? I don't remember it there. But anyways, they got a near mint 8. Near mint to mint 8 on the 77 Carlton Fisk, so that's a +1. Okay, Willie McCovey, 77 McCovey. It is a 7 is what we have here. Willie McCovey, 77 7, and it's a 6. Willie, why Willie? So Willie got a 6. I'm gonna pick up the pace for your benefit and for my wife's. 77 Joe Morgan coming up next. We got a 7 on that, and it is a 7.5, so that counts. That counts. So we get a +0.5 on the near mint plus, and that is another card I stared at for many hours and glued to my wall. Rubber cement. If you know what rubber cement is, give me a thumbs up in the comments below. So that's a 7.5. So that's a +0.5. Then we got a Schmidt. Is that an 80 Schmidt? Yeah. 1980 Mike Schmidt. I got an 8 on it, and it's a 9. Oh, a 9. A 1980 and a 9? Look at that thing. Schmitty. Michael Jack Schmidt. I didn't like him at all growing up because I'm a Cubs fan, and he always seemed to put the hammer down on us. Michael Jack Schmidt, so that's a +1. All right, Ronnie Santo, Cubs legend, now in the Hall of Fame. Finally, they should have put him in the Hall of Fame when he was still alive. Loved Ronnie. I actually met Ron Santo. I was with Century 21 back in, I don't know, a long time ago, and I won Rookie of the Year. They asked me if I wanted to go to a Cubs game in a box, like one of those luxury boxes, which aren't very luxury in Wrigley, by the way. And then I got to go up to the radio booth and meet Pat Hughes and Ron Santo. So in between innings, so that was very nice. There is a 1970 Ron Santo as a 6, and it's a 5. But again, this goes into my personal collection. It's a Cub, Ron Santo, and a 5. So we're going to get a -1 on that. It's okay. Hustler Banks. This is another one that I'd love to have a 6 in this. But it'll be in my collection probably forever. It's a 1959 Hustler Banks in a 6, and it turned out to be a 5. So you can see that hand drawn. It's kind of like a work of art. That's how I see these vintage baseball cards, as essentially art. You know, I'm not going to collect any Picassos or any Van Goghs, but I am going to collect some baseball cards, especially vintage. So there's a -1 on the Hustler Banks. We got batting leaders, AL. So it'd be a 1966 AL batting leaders in a 6, and it's a 5. That's 2 in a row. No good. Tony Olivo, there's Yaz. Just beautiful card. It's very off center. I get it, but the condition of it is fantastic. The color is fantastic. 1966 and a 5. Yeah, we're going to definitely be in the negative column unless we can really make a run at it. Monty Irvin up next. Monford Irving, where is he at? There he is. We got him as 19. So we got 2 of them. So we got a 54 and a 55. Okay, so there is our 55 and a 3, and we had a 4 with a mark. I've got a mark here. Do we have a mark in the back? Yeah, so there's the mark. They didn't give me the qualifier of the mark, but they did mark the grade down. It's a 3, and I had it as a 4. So another minus. So that's a 3, -1 there. Okay, the next one is a 1980 home run leaders. Home run leaders. Where is that at? That's an 81. Okay, so it'd be the 80 season, 1981 card. I have it as a 7, and it is an 8. Look at that. We got an 8, Reggie Jackson. And there is Michael Jack Schmidt. Well, look at that. Look at the stash. We got bookend stashes right there. But an 8 is very nice. We'll take a +1 in that column. And then we have a Hal Newhouser in a 55, and we got it as a 4. So let's see what we have. It's a 3, but look at how beautiful it is. Yeah, it's a little rough. Corners are soft. It's off center. But the color is beautiful. A 3 on the Hal Newhouser. So yeah, I guess I was a little bit too optimistic. Okay, the 54 Monty Irvin I have as a 2. And it is a 2. Just a beautiful. Where's my 53 at? You gotta see that. It's such a beautiful card. It's gonna be going off to get graded. Oh, look at that. There it is, a 1953 Monte Irvin, and I got high hopes for that. Look at the condition of that, the color of that. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. So that'll be going off for grading AS and the AP. So that did get the 2. As we were thinking, so that is a good one there. We have Bob Feller, a 56 Feller. We got in a 6, and it's a 5. So these older ones aren't doing too good for us, but again, a beautiful card, great color, pretty good centering there. That's a nice looking card. I could definitely see a 6 in that still. I mean, I see the bottom's a little choppy down here. Yeah, 5, I guess, probably fair. Why? All right, we're down to like 4 more to go, and we got an Eddie Matthews. Where is Eddie? Eddie in a 66 Eddie Matthews. How about a 6? How about a 5, Bart? Well, yeah, fine. It's a beautiful card. Got a little mark at the bottom, a little off right to left on the 66 Eddie Matthews and a 5. 66 and a 5, another -1. We're not doing great, but again, we're optimistic. NL RBI leaders, So a 69 NL RBI leaders in a 4. And we got it in a 4. And you can see why I love this card. Not only is it Willie McCovey, but it's Ron Santo and Billy Williams. Look at that. 2 out of the 3 are Cubbies. Ernie Banks is probably in there somewhere. Yeah, look at these guys. Tony Perez, Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, Johnny Bench, Willie Mays. That's why I always love these leader cards. And look at how beautiful that is. So that'll be a card that'll be in the collection forever, forever. We love you forever. Okay, here we go. We got an Ernie Banks coming up. It's going to be a 66 Banks in a 4. Oh, we got it in a 5. 66 OPG. So Topps and OPG. That's essentially the Canadian version of the Topps card. It's the same exact card as the 66 Topps, but OPG, a little less printed. That's my opinion. I think that's true. Than the Topps, but look at the brilliance of that. We thought it'd be a 4, and we got a 5 on one of my favorite players of all time. Now, again, I didn't get to see him play, but I've certainly, wait, that's a 5 plus 1. I certainly, as a Cubs fan, know who Mr. Cub is. So we got a Yaz in a, okay, it's a 70 Yastrzemski, so that's an MVP card, I believe. And a 4, and there it is. It's 4 miscut. Yeah, see? Okay, yeah, I get it. You're right. But it is a 4, so there is Carl Yastrzemski right there in the 4. All right, so let's add up our negatives. So we got -2 there. Then we're down to -1. Then we're down to 0. Then we're at -1. We're at 0. We're at +0.5. Then we're at down 0.5. Up 0.5. Down 0.5. Down 1.5. Down 2.5. Down 3.5. Down 4.5. Down 5.5. Down 6.5. Down 5.5. Down 6.5. So that is how we finished. We were hoping to finish 0 or to the plus side, and we ended up being down -6.5. So all of these cards in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing my lovable hobby with me. I hope you're still watching. Give this video a like. We'll be back to trading those stocks, options, and dividends tomorrow. But until then, I will see you in the next video.